Last week, I put out a video that was all about some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started meeting women. And I've been getting some questions lately because at the point of making this video, I'm 35 years old. So I've had some reflection back into my 20s. I've gotten questions about what are some other things that I wish I knew back in my 20s. Like if I could just take a time machine and go all the way back to 22 years old. So at this point, I'm out of college, I'm in the real world. What would I have done differently? What do I wish some of my mindsets were? What's some of the things I wish that I just had the knowledge so that I can get to the point where I had an amazing 20s. Now, I do think personally in my 20s, I did do a lot of things that were great that got me to where I am now. But I'm just trying to be kind of perfectionist here. Like, what are some things that I wish I would have done? And so, of course, I can't go back and change things. But at the very least, what I can do is I can tell you. So if you're watching this and you're in your 20s, and even if you're watching this, by the way, and you're older than that or younger than that, this is still good stuff to learn from because this is stuff that you can still start today. So it's not stuff that's just for people in their 20s. It's just stuff that I wish I knew. And I'll be explaining why that is. So of course, some of the things I'll be talking about do pertain to women. All of them, in a sense, do pertain to women, but they're also really good for your whole life. But the first one that I want to talk about does pertain to women. So I remember when I was in my early 20s, and this might relate to you right now, I was searching for the best pickup line or the best opening line. Like, what's the best thing that I could say to a girl to open up conversation? And it's funny because I'm just like you, I'm just like the clients that I work with, we're all focusing on that best first line. Well, something that I learned was the opening line does not matter. When you're talking to a woman, she rarely, if ever, remembers how you started the conversation. So it's not how you start the conversation that's important. It's rather how you hold the conversation, how you continue the conversation, what's going on when you're finally there. The most important part of any opening line is just that you do it. And don't worry, I will give you what I consider the best opening line that you can use pretty much 99.9% of the time. But what I found is a lot of guys are searching for that opening line and want the best thing, mainly because they're afraid of rejection. So they think that if they don't have the perfect opening line, they're gonna get rejected. So a lot of guys are trying to think of like, okay, what's the best thing to say? Another problem is that guys feel, and this was me too, that you have to say something that has to do with the situation, because we're not very used to just going up to a woman, introducing ourselves and saying hello. Instead, we think intuitively, well, what can I do to get the conversation going related to what's happening right now? So a lot of guys will go up to a girl and say, oh, do you come here often? A lot of guys will go up to women and kind of mention something that's going on in a grocery store, or maybe they're meeting someone on the street and they're mentioning something that's going on there, or they're mentioning a situation that's happening in a bar or club. Like, they're trying to find the perfect situational opener to say. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with any of those. If you're going out and you're meeting women and there is a situational opener to use and it comes to you within 2 seconds, by all means, go and use it. But I've learned, and again, from experience, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you see a girl wherever and you can't think of something situational to say because there's not always something fun and interesting happening in that moment. So what do? Okay, well, it took me a long time to refine and finally discover what I believe is the perfect opener that you can use all the time, no matter what. And it's simple as this. You go up to a woman and say, hi, introduce yourself. So you'll say, for example, hi, I'm Tripp. I wanted to come meet you. That's it. Smile on your face. Hi, I'm Tripp. I wanted to come meet you. Of course, again, whatever your name is, you'll replace it with Tripp. Hi, I'm Tripp. I wanted to come meet you. And then continue conversation from there. A good conversation continuer is saying something along the lines of, hey, I'm Tripp, I wanted to come meet you. Are you from? And then fill in the blank in terms of wherever you are, and just get conversation going. So that's kind of like your default line. And I remember in my 20s, I was just searching for the perfect line. And I wasted a ton of time trying to figure out what that was when eventually I just came to this. So Learn from this. Whether you're 18 years old or 60 years old or anywhere in between, you don't need a better pickup line or opening line than that. Just going up, introducing yourself is good enough because like I said, most of the time, they're not gonna remember anything that you said in terms of the start of the conversation. They're just gonna remember that you came up, started conversation, and interacted with them. Next, something that I pretty much did not do in my 20s at all, and I really wish that I would have done this, is I wish I would have had a better skincare routine, okay? This is something that you wanna start as early as possible. Of course, if you're my age, 35, or you're older, still good to start. There's never a bad time to start a skincare routine. But of course, I wish I did that in my 20s. I didn't think about that. I didn't really know about it until then. Of course, I get into my 30s and I'm starting to see a little bit of wrinkles and starting to see things change. And now knowing what I know, it could have been fixed and a little bit better and just had better skin up until this point. And also having a better skincare routine is really good for you because not just preventative for the future, but in the moment, making your skin look really clean, really clear. Now, some of the stuff that I use now, a lot of guys ask me like, well, what do you use? I use Tiege Hanley. You probably heard about this. A lot of people are using it. It's kind of new to the scene. It's been around for maybe a year or two. It's some of the best stuff that I use. And I even know the guys who have created Tiege Hanley. They're super cool, super awesome. And because I use it so much, because I love it, I totally endorse it. I've even endorsed it in other videos. What they've allowed me to do is tell you about it and then get you a discount for it. The discount is below. There's a link in the description. You can get that. One of the reasons why I love this, and I'm like upset that this stuff did not exist in my 20s. If I knew about it, I would have used it, was because back in the day, I had no idea that there were actual routines that you could do. There's nothing I could find that gave me a good skincare routine. Yeah, you can go to Walgreens or CVS and get Cetaphil or something like that, but Tiege Hanley has a whole system. I think it's so cool because there's a serum in there, there's stuff for your eyes in there, there's face moisturizer for nighttime, for daytime, and it gives you the whole package. So it's not just putting on some really cheap, bad moisturizer, but putting on all these different things onto your skin to make it look awesome. So I really encourage you, because this is your face, this is what you look like, this is how you're presenting yourself, and it's just really good for you. I really encourage you to use some kind of skincare routine, and of course, Tiege Hanley is what I'd recommend to you, but doing that as fast as possible so you can start preventing any kind of wrinkles, or at the very least, I like to use it, well, I use it every day, but I like to use it especially before I'm going out and meeting people, because I get this really nice glow from using the serum and the moisturizer and all that stuff. So it's really cool. It's really easy to use. Like I said, I talked to the guys and they are giving you a discount to join the membership. It's free shipping. It's really affordable. The link is down in the description below. So whether you're gonna use Tiege Hanley or something else, I highly recommend it. I wish I would have done this earlier. I remember in my 20s, I did it for a little bit. I didn't have a routine. I used some sort of moisturizer, and then I kind of fell off because it just didn't really feel like it was doing much. I didn't feel like I was getting any results. And honestly, it was insanely expensive to just get this one moisturizer. And like I said, I didn't have a routine behind it, so I didn't know that there's all this other stuff that makes your skin look great. So anyway, check that out down below, and let's go to the next one. Another thing I wish I knew, this is more specific in my early 20s, because once I got into my mid 20s and late 20s, I started to learn about how to meet women. I started to get more confident with women. So I started to learn this more into the mid-late 20s. But I wish I knew this right away. So hopefully now you're gonna learn this. Again, whether you're in your 20s or older or younger, good to know either way. But one of my mindsets when I was younger was that there were women out of my league. Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever go and see a woman who's at a bar or on a dating app or something like that, and you're like, whoa, they're so pretty, and you start to kind of say things like, they're out of my league, or you feel like you're not good enough for them? This creates a domino effect disaster. What happens is you end up assigning a value to a woman, thinking that she's better than you because she has pretty looks, and then you start to treat that woman different, and then it becomes a disaster because you don't end up even attracting that woman in the first place. Not because she's prettier than you or better than you, but you're treating her in a way where you're putting her on the pedestal, so you're kind of chasing her a little bit more, you're saying different things to her more, you're complimenting her a lot, you're doing this kind of try-hard stuff, you're being really needy, and so it doesn't end up happening. All because you ended up putting her in this weird category of she's out of your league. They even have a whole movie about this, by the way, called She's Out of My League. And it's terrible because I feel like it's reinforcing this idea even more into pop culture, that there are women that can be out of your league. Just remember this, okay? No matter what a woman looks like, she's still the same inside. It does not make her better just because she's prettier. Yes, I got to agree. I know that she's higher in demand. Obviously, women who are more attractive are higher in demand and they are valued more, but that doesn't make her different, doesn't mean you have to treat her different, and doesn't mean she's not a woman that you can't approach or talk to or swipe right on or have a great date with. I mean, I even was talking to a client earlier on. He goes, hey, I got a date soon. I'm really excited about it, but I'm a little nervous. I said, why are you nervous? He goes, I don't know, she's really out of my league. He literally said this, like this is something that he said, and he's in his early 20s. And I was like, no. And we had to do this whole reframe, kind of like I just gave you, in terms of fixing that mindset and not using that language anymore. So I really wish that this was not part of what I was thinking when I was in my early 20s. Next, and again, I have to repeat myself. I know this is life lessons. Again, this is stuff that it's not necessarily for your 20s. This is stuff that you can start today. I just wish I knew this a lot earlier. That's my whole point here. So the next one is, I wish I would have put more priority earlier on in terms of investing in my health. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So health meaning my mental health, my physical health, right? I wish I would have put a lot of energy and even more money into that. Okay, so that means eating healthier foods, eating foods that are going to be good for my brain, going to the gym more and exercising more regular than I do now, even getting into therapy, getting a psychologist to just work some of the issues out that you might have going on in your head. And I want to say this for a second. There's a lot of talk in media, online, everywhere, when we're talking about health in terms of the physical aspect. It's never weird to tell someone, oh, I go to the gym 3 times a week. Oh, I'm eating really healthy. I'm on a diet. Everyone's super supportive of that. But somehow when we start talking about mental health, it gets a little like, whoa, this person is seeing a psychologist. They must be crazy. This must be strange. But that's not the case at all. Think about going to a therapist is like going to the gym for your brain. We all have emotions. We all have stress. We all have issues. Some more than others, but we all have that because we're all human on some level. So it's really good to have an unbiased figure in your life to talk to about this stuff. It's nice if you have friends, it's nice if you have parents and people to talk to or mentors, but there's nothing like going to an actual psychologist, someone who's studied this stuff, someone who is looking out for you, but it's going to give you the right advice and real answers because you're their patient and they care about you, but in a different way. So they're going to give you that kind of unbiased look. Plus, in a sense, they call it therapy because it's very therapeutic to just talk about this stuff. So even if you're thinking, well, I don't have issues with my parents, I'm not even that stressed out, sometimes I am, it's still good to just let this stuff go because it can build up. Any stress in your life, it can be anything, even pertaining to women, right? So I highly recommend that you look into going to therapy, even if it's nothing so serious, and if it is, then absolutely going to there. So investing in that, and of course, investing in the things like I said, like your physical health, eating the right foods, understanding how food works, buying books, doing some fitness coaching, doing some nutrition coaching. I've done that over the course of my life. I wish I would have done that stuff a lot earlier. So that's something that should be a priority, because think about it. If you don't have your health, like they say, you don't have anything. Here's another thing, and this is more specific to guys in their 20s. So I'm not going to say this is necessarily for everyone on this last bit, but still helpful. In your 20s, this is the time to make mistakes. This is the time to take your biggest risks because you have more time to recover. right? So it's okay to take some more financial risks. It's okay to take a lot of risks with women. Of course, I feel like no matter what age you should be doing that. But this is the time when you're just doing a lot of learning. So if you're in your 20s right now, especially your early 20s and you're watching this, just take this time to learn and to invest. So you're gonna invest in yourself, right? You're gonna invest maybe in finances too, just like lots of putting energy towards investing things into things, making mistakes, and then eventually, when you're in your 30s, you can be more fruitful, meaning you're gonna end up getting the fruits from your labor and from the mistakes that you've made and the energy you put in your 20s. Plus in your 20s, you naturally have, because you're younger, a lot of energy. So it's good to put in a lot of effort and work into your career, into health, into meeting and attracting women. Like, use this time, use this energy to really kill it. I remember in my late 20s, I did do this, right? I took a big risk in just quitting my job and starting Tripp Advice. And that's something I'm so glad I did. This is not something I started later on where it can get a little bit more risky, where you sometimes need more money when you're older if you end up getting into a relationship, something like that. So I took a big financial risk and went completely broke in terms of building Tripp Advice to get it to the point of where it's at. And I was able to do that because I started it when I was 26, 25 years old, right? So I'm glad I did that. That lesson made me learn, wow, I got to tell other guys, if you're in your 20s, you really got to focus on taking those bigger risks because it's easier to do when you're at that age. Lots of lessons here. I want you to think about this in terms of how your whole life looks, right? Can you implement some things today to start working on this? I know there's one thing you can implement today is going down in the description below, clicking that link to get your new skincare stuff. Tiege Hanley is the best. So at the very worst, you can start there and then take some of these other lessons and start implementing them. Again, whether you're 18, 25, 30, 60, whatever, get this stuff started today. There's a saying that I've heard from a friend of mine and I loved it. It goes like this: when's the best time to plant a tree? The answer? 20 years ago. When is the second best time to plant a tree? That is right now. So no regrets. Maybe things didn't work out in the past, but the best time to do anything is right now. So good luck. Hope that helps. I'll see you in the comments.